gambling and drugs. I'd rather die than tell you.
You're already a dead man.
And you're strangers packing, or I will.
You were in a hole, and so was I.
They want us.
And they're gonna get us.
Thought I'd seen my last firefight.
What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about Dutton Ranch, every alliance, every secret, every deal, is about to be destroyed in a single episode? Because after watching this trailer frame by frame, I can tell you right now, somebody is not making it out of El Padrino alive. And the person you least expect is the one who pulls the trigger. Stay with me, because this breakdown is going to change how you see the entire season. Let's start with something everyone is overlooking. The episode is called El Padrino, Spanish for The Godfather. Now, on the surface, that sounds cool, but think about what The Godfather actually means. It means someone has been pulling strings this entire time from the shadows, someone who has controlled every move, every deal, every death, without ever showing his face. And now, for the very first time, he has stepped into the light. But here's what nobody is talking about. The Godfather doesn't step out of the shadows unless he feels genuinely threatened, which means Rip and Beth have gotten closer to the truth than even they realize, and that is when things get truly dangerous. Now here is the shot that stopped me cold. Mariano Reyes, the man everyone assumed was dead, is standing inside Beulah's office, calm, controlled, completely in charge, and he looks directly at Beulah and says, "You'll send your strangers packing, or I will." But wait, stop right there. How does Mariano even know about Rip and Beth? He's been completely off the grid this entire season. Nobody knew where he was. Nobody knew if he was even alive. So how does a ghost suddenly appear in Beulah's office with inside information about two people who only arrived at 10 Petal a few weeks ago? Unless someone told him. Someone who had his number saved in their phone. Someone who called him at the end of episode 8 in the dead of night and screamed into the darkness before picking up that phone. Joaquin didn't just call his father to cry about being betrayed. He handed Mariano a weapon, and Mariano just aimed it directly at Rip and Beth Dot. Now watch this shot carefully. It's the middle of the night. Rip is standing completely still outside the house, no gun in his hand yet, just listening. And in that silence, he knows. Because Rip Wheeler has survived things that would have broken most men. He knows what danger feels like before it arrives. And what he senses coming toward Dutton Ranch right now is not just a threat. It's an army. Mariano's men, masked, armed, and moving through the darkness, are closing in on the property. And then Rip turns back inside and says 4 words. "They want us." And Beth, without even flinching, replies, "Then they'll get us." Now I want you to think about that for a second. These are not two people who are afraid. These are two people who have been waiting for this moment their entire lives. The question is not whether they can survive it. The question is, who else is going to get caught in the crossfire? Just when you think you know exactly who is fighting on which side, the trailer throws something at you that completely resets everything. Everett McKinney, an older man, Beulah's closest companion, a man who has spent this entire season being gentle, kind, and loving. He pulls up to Dutton Ranch, not empty-handed. He's carrying a rifle, and he looks at Rip and says, "Well, I ain't seen my last firefight." And then in the very next shot, he points that rifle at one of Mariano's men and pulls the trigger. Now here's what makes this moment genuinely shocking. McKinney served in the Navy. This man has seen real combat, and the reason he's here, the reason he drove to Dutton Ranch in the middle of the night with a weapon, is because he had no idea. He had absolutely no idea that Beulah was connected to a smuggling ring. He thought he was bringing Rip and Beth into a legitimate operation. And now the woman he loves has put their lives in danger. So McKinney made a choice, and that choice might just be what saves everyone. Now this is the moment that genuinely shocked me more than anything else in this trailer. Beth Dutton, standing on her own property, pointing a rifle directly at Beulah Jackson as she arrives at the gate. Not at Rob Will, not at Mariano's men, at Beulah, the woman who hired them, the woman who brought them here. And think about what that means. Beth does not point guns at people she doesn't consider a real threat. Beth points guns at people who have genuinely crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Beulah kept secrets that destroyed the Dutton herd. Beulah made a deal under blackmail that put Rip and Beth directly in the crosshairs of a criminal operation. And now armed men are coming to kill them in the middle of the night because of her choices. So when Beulah says in episode 8 that she's tired, that she just wants peace, that she doesn't care anymore, Beth's answer is that rifle pointed straight at her chest. Because in Beth Dutton's world, you don't get peace until you've paid for every mistake you've made. Now let's talk about the man who started all of this, Rob Will, Robert William Jackson III, the man who walked into Beulah's office, sat in her chair and told her, "Give me the ranch or Joaquin dies," the man who had Wes killed, the man who sent Ched to murder his own stepbrother. And now in the episode 9 teaser, we see Rip Wheeler hit him. And this time he hits him so hard it feels like a full stop at the end of a very long sentence. Here's what Rob Will doesn't know yet. Austin Lewis has already told Rip everything about the smuggling operation. The weapon that connects Rob Will to Wes's murder. Rip has it. Rip knows where the body is. And Rip's own fingerprints might be on that weapon from when he took it from Rob Will at the gas station. So Rip is not just fighting for revenge, he's fighting to clear his own name. And a man fighting for his survival is the most dangerous thing in the world. Rob Will created this situation, and Rob Will is going to answer for it. Here, quote, "Something the trailer is hiding from you deliberately. Carter is nowhere in those gunfight scenes. Not a single shot. And I don't think that's an accident. Carter walked out of the house in episode 8. He asked Sheriff Wade for a job and was told to go home. He has no identity, no purpose, and no direction. And while Rip and Beth are fighting for their lives, Carter is somewhere out there alone in the dark. Now think about what that sets up. Because the most powerful moment in any story is when the person who walked away comes back. When Carter shows up, and I believe he will, it won't be as a boy anymore. And then there's Joaquin, who made one phone call at the end of episode 8 that set this entire finale in motion. Joaquin turned his back on the Jacksons, but did he just trade one dangerous family for an even more dangerous one? Because Mariano, his own father, is now the biggest threat in Rio Paloma, and Joaquin has to decide which side of that line he stands on. So here is exactly what I think is going to happen in El Padrino. The gunfight at Dutton Ranch happens first, and Rip, Beth, McKinney, Azul, and Zach hold their ground. But someone gets hurt, someone we care about, because this show has never let a major battle happen without a real cost. Rob Will does not survive this finale. Either Rip ends it, or Joaquin does. But Rob Will's story concludes in episode 9, I am completely certain of that. Beulah, after facing Beth and the consequences of everything she's hidden, finally lets go. Not of the ranch, of the fight. She chooses Everett. She chooses peace. And Carter, somewhere out there in the darkness, does something that proves he is a Dutton in every way that actually matters. Even without the name, even without the blood. And Mariano, the godfather who stepped out of the shadows, either walks away with a deal that sets up season 2, or he gets exactly what every godfather eventually gets. A ending he never saw coming. The finale of Dutton Ranch drops July 3rd on Paramount+. And after this trailer, I genuinely believe this is going to be one of the best season finales of 2026. If this breakdown helped you see something you missed, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because my ending explained video goes up the moment that finale is over. Don't miss it. The Godfather has arrived in Rio Paloma, and nothing is going to be the same after Thursday night.